After spending time with seven-figure wholesale operators, here's what actually stood out. So this past week, I was at the Level Up REI Mastermind event in Las Vegas. So for those of that you don't know, I am a coach in Level Up REI. It's a group of wholesalers, and we talk with people about how to scale. We help them with their marketing. But 3 to 4 times a year, we like to come together as a group and have a mastermind. So to give you a little background on kind of what the event looks like, usually it's a 2-day event. In the mornings, we're waking up early. We're going to play pickleball, basketball, doing something as a group, some activity. And then during the day, we like to have presentations. We do small group breakout sessions. And at the end, we usually go out to dinner and have some more networking. So we like to keep this as a small group. This past Las Vegas event was around 40 business owners, all doing good numbers. And then during the day, we had the presentations, and some of those presentations this time were, we had a seven-figure flipper come talk about his operation. We had a seven-figure business owner that's doing agent outreach directly. And then we had someone come in to talk about sales. We had one of the owners, Chandler, come talk about marketing, your finances. And then we had another presenter talk about how he's running a cold call agency, owns a flooring company, and has a seven-figure wholesale business. So it's a really good eclectic group of people, and we're all coming together. And the big thing, without egos, to help teach each other things so that we could all learn and grow together. So I kind of wanted to come on here and give you a little my big takeaways on what I took down from the event that I'm really going to go implement in my business, in my personal life, that's going to hopefully take me to the next level. So the first thing is going to be, if it's working, do more of it. Pretty simple, right? But this to me was really not going back and reinventing the wheel on everything. If it's working, do more of it. More leads create more conversations. More conversations create contracts. More contracts creates more closings, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel and try to go do a different marketing source. So really double down on what's working. And those seven-figure people that were there presenting, talking about this stuff, they weren't doing anything magical with their business. There was no, secret marketing source that they were doing. They were just doing it, and they were doing more of it. So really double down on what's working. They hire smart, they dial in the process, and they scale faster because they're consistent. They're not changing their strategy. So number one big takeaway for me was, if it's working, do more. Right? It's easy to get that shiny object syndrome. I know I talk about that a lot. Number two, agent outreach. It's a cheap marketing source. So I don't do any agent outreach myself at the moment. I did it previously, and I do think it's a great spot. And I tell a lot of people that are beginning that this is a great spot to get started. Because if you think about it, a lot of wholesalers, we're all doing inbound, outbound leads, trying to generate our own home seller leads, right? And if you think about it, agents are doing the same thing. They're trying to generate motivated seller leads so that they can list their property, right? All agents want to be on the list side. They don't necessarily want to be on the buy side. So they're going out there trying to generate their own leads. And if you think about it, all right, if that agent's talking to 10 home sellers in one day, and I call one agent, that's virtually me calling 10 home sellers, right? So if you can, double that output of, hey, let me go call, 20 realtors, and if they're calling 10 homeowners, that's like 20, houses I got in touch with, right? So it was an interesting mindset. I've never heard of it put that way, but it really made sense and clicked with me. I'm like, wow, they are doing the same thing that we're doing. And if we just call them, build a connection with them, when they find a distressed property, hopefully they come back to us. Obviously, with the agent outreach, I do think, you do have to have some credibility with these people to build those long-term relationships. You have to have the ability to close if anything comes up so that you can maintain that relationship. But ultimately, agent outreach is probably one of the cheapest marketing sources. You can go to their MLS and pull a list for free, and then it's just calling. So that was one of my big takeaways. Agent outreach was a cheap marketing source. There's a few people in the room that were doing it. They were doing it super successfully. 3, and probably my favorite thing, accountability fixes almost everything. So another big pattern, the operators that were winning the most were obsessed with accountability. They track their KPIs, they know their numbers, and they hold their team to a specific standard. And really, that happens all the time, where people they set the standard, but they don't hold their team accountable to it. And ultimately, you don't rise to the level that you set. You fall to the level that you're willing to accept, right? I talked to someone today actually that was at the event. We were going through his KPIs together, and he had some red marks on his KPI sheet. He's like, I don't know why they just aren't filling out their KPI sheet. I'm like, this is exactly what we talked about as far as being what's acceptable, right? You're not doing anything if they don't fill this out, right? They've done it before. They're going to keep doing it. And if you're never going to poke them back and be like, hey, you need to do this and this is why it's important, they're just going to keep doing it. So the real thing is, you don't rise to the level that you set, you fall to the level that you're willing to accept. And the real truth, your business is exactly where you are because of you, whether that's good or bad. So lead accordingly. And number 4, hiring wrong people is part of the game. And this is probably one of my biggest learning lessons. I think I'll do a video on what went wrong in my business last year, but it was definitely hiring. And hiring wrong people is part of the game. You just have to keep doing it. It might take 3, 4, 5 hires before you find that A player, but you just have to keep going. That's not failure, that's the process. You do want to go back and review after hiring, what happened with that hire. If someone leaves, what happened. You do have to have that transparency so that you can be better, making sure that onboarding process is dialed in to get them up to speed. Accountability is there. So always go back, but there's going to be failure with hire, and that ultimately is the process. So just stick with it. And ultimately, you also have to always be hiring. Part of what happened with us last year is we had some people that we were friends with, right? We liked talking to them on our morning meetings. They were funny, but ultimately they weren't getting the results that we needed. We knew that, but we liked them, so we kept them on for a little bit too long, which ultimately pulled down our numbers, and not what you want. So I think if we had our hiring funnel running during that time, we probably would have pulled the plug on him a little bit quicker if we had some more prospective people to come work with us. So always be hiring. You are going to make some bad hires. That's the name of the game. But as long as you get them out quick enough, it shouldn't hold you back too much. So short video today. Really just wanted to come on and kind of recap the Vegas event. I always love going to the in-person events. I may even do a video at some point on my opinions on masterminds and coaches. I used to be against them, but now I love them. It's a great way to talk to other entrepreneurs. A lot of times we are in this alone. We don't get to talk to people about what's going on in our business, how you're feeling, the ups and downs they have to go through. So going to these masterminds really puts into perspective that, there's a lot of people out there that are on the same level as you. You should be able to be open-minded to make those connections so that you can reach out for help and they can come to you for help as well. But to recap, my big takeaways from this event, 1, if it's working, do more of it. 2, agent outreach is a cheap marketing source. 3, accountability fixes almost everything. And 4, hiring the wrong people is part of the game. So thanks for stopping by. As always, if you don't mind liking the video, dropping a comment, I will respond to all comments. And thanks for stopping by.